Hello everyone and welcome once again to a cast of the neogaf StarCraft 2 North American tournament. It's another round 1 game between myself, here as the yellow Zerg, and BigAT down here as the red Protoss. Map is Blistering Sands, so very long ground distances, short air distances, you know, it's the works. This is actually the 5th game in this series between myself and BigAT, so this will be the one that decides everything. Lost the first game to BigAT's, what seems to be BigAT's standard Void Ray strategy. Won the second game in a ground war. Third game, lost again to the Void Ray strategy when I got a little, got a little too fancy, tried to knight us in on Scrap Station, didn't really work out because my Overlord was sniped off. And won the 4th game, which was also a ground war. So this being the 5th game, and seeing the map choice in particular, I'm pretty sure there's going to be another Void Ray game, or at least this was my thought process while I was playing. We have BigAT making sure that I'm not fast expanding. I've got my Overlord coming in to do a little spy job of my own, but I won't be sending on a probe this time, instead of opting for very fast gas into pool. BigAT also grabbing very fast gas and a gateway. Also having a very slight probe advantage at this point in the game. Oh, whoops, got a little control problem here with my drones. Another thing is BigAT really likes to take shots at your mineral miners. As you can see here, I've been taking a few pokes at this guy, so you can't really ignore his probe. Have to pull a guy off the line, make sure that he behaves himself, runs away. Down here we've still got one gas, adding on an extra pylon, and a cyborg core. Also adding on a second gas. Down here I have completely ignored my queen entirely, added on a second gas, gone directly into lair attack. At this point I'm trying to get into my spire as soon as physically possible. BigAT chronoing economy. You can see that he has a slight minor advantage because I am trying to rush myself into Spire Tech. He also did manage to get a probe in here, so he can see that I did skip my queen. I did grab a very fast lair. Down here he's chronoing out a Stalker. Seems to be a fairly odd choice since he is still only on one gateway. And you should know from my tech that I probably won't be pushing him anytime soon. Still adding on pylons. Layer just about finished. You can see my gas is starting to climb up a little bit. Spire goes down. Not wasting any time, not like running it off into a corner or anything. Really not trying to hide anything at this point, just trying to pressure out a Spire as soon as physically possible. Queen coming out now, so I can get my larva up and operational. First Stargate is down for BigAT. See, he's using his Stalker to scare off my Overlord. More Overlords in production. BigAT researching his air weapons upgrade, which is very powerful with Void Rays. I'm still pretty much just waiting on my Spire, trying to keep my food pretty high. I want to have a buffer there so that I don't have to wait up for my Mutalisks. BigAT, on the other hand, also has a slight buffer, adding on a second gate and a forge rather than going for the very early Void Ray. Which, of course, I had a queen available, so it wouldn't have been a huge harassing opportunity. First 5 mutalisks are down. Forge is down, so we might see some very early cannons. More pylons going on. BigAT opting for maximum side coverage so that he can warp in his units pretty much wherever they are needed. He is still only on 1 gate though, so it won't be like incredibly worrisome that he can warp in stalkers. Photon cannons going in at the front to complete a wall off. This is more or less the strategy he used on me in the 2 earlier games where he won with Void Rays. First game I had attempted to run my Zerglings in, but I was just seconds behind. He had gotten successful wall off. And then I ended up throwing out about 8 Overlords after my Hydralisk den spawned, so completely wasted all my larvae. Lost that game. Was a little bit salty over that. First mutas have arrived, hitting his probes. Void Ray shows up. I'll run away. But, hey, I realize there's only one of them. I have 5 mutalisks. I could probably win this. Go back, get some more probes. See a stalker, so I run again. As you can see, I'm using my hotkeys to keep my mutas building while I'm running all over the map. More Void Rays on the way. BigAT has a bit of a few spare minerals here. Really should probably be throwing down a couple extra gateways rather than these photon cannons, so that he can just spawn stalkers that'll be a lot more mobile, a lot more useful for some mutalisks. Mutalisks come back, target firing down the Void Rays, mostly just trying to keep the numbers down so that he can't get some like god-awful massive army and just completely annihilate a hatchery or a spire before I could knock down all his Void Rays. More mutalisks building. I've used this opportunity of the harass to grab my expand, get a bit of a macro advantage in this game. Powering drones on both bases. You can see I've managed to catch up to BigAT's miner count, thanks to, in part, to my harass. Still only 22 though, so it's not really a massive advantage at this point. But once I get this line saturated, I'll be able to power out a whole lot of Zerglings, completely control his stalker count if he decides to switch tech. Evolution chamber going down. At this point, I'm concerning myself most with defense while my mutalisks are out having some fun. This way, I can worry about getting as much damage down as possible, and still have enough time to come back and fight off any air armies that might be attacking my base at the time. Here I see him knocking down my Overlord, so I pull my Mutalisk back, just in case that he had managed to build up any charge. The key to the Void Ray Mutalisk fight is that you really don't want to have to worry about charge. Mutalisks are naturally faster than the basic run-of-the-mill Void Rays, so what you can do is you can just hit them, run off about a screen, wait a few seconds, come back, hit them again. This will be before their shields start to regenerate and completely prevent them from charging beyond level 1, as long as you have good control. BigAT here looking around for Overlords, trying to keep my food under control. He has managed to supply block me, but I had a few more Overlords being built. I bring my Queen out and a couple of Spore Crawlers to defend. At this point I feel that I have enough Mutalisks to just target fire everything down and clean this up fairly convincingly. It's only until he has 2 Void Rays left that he actually manages to get to level 3 and become a significant threat to my Mutalisk force. But at that point, I mean, there's not really much left. Finally switching tech to Phoenixes so we can fight off my Mutalisks in an air-to-air battle. Does sort of lose any advantages he would have had on an attack by targeting queens. I have 3 queens actually now in my main base to cover me for air. I have not yet spawned a queen down here, but it is possible that I just accidentally dragged one back up here. Spreading my creep, have my 2 gases but I have not yet saturated this line. Mostly concerned with keeping him on one base at this point. Controlling his Void Ray armies, because I know that with just only 2 gas geysers, there's really a limit to how many Void Rays he can just keep rebuilding. His army will just keep shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. And I can use the Mutalisk to harass his pylons, harass his workers. Since he's only on 1 gate, he isn't able to quickly switch over to Stalkers. So once I snipe this pylon, I mean, I really don't have much to worry about at this point. Just more Stalkers, and he hasn't even researched Warp Grade tech at this point. It's a 50-50 research, so there's really no point in a Protoss skipping it. Microwaving my Mutalisk back and forth to snipe this pylon. Lose power to these cannons, drop the wall, bring in my Zerglings, and that will pretty much be GG at this point. Pylon finally comes down. Phoenix has managed to get out, but with the Zerglings in play, Phoenixes are just not the kind of weapon that you would want. Void Rays really would also not really have worked. BigAT GG's. That was the end of Game 5, so I myself will be moving on to the second round of the tournament, facing either Shag or Zealous D, depending on who wins that. Well, it was a fairly good series of games. I mean, I was a bit surprised. BigAT had very, very fast Void Rays, very, very powerful for us in the Steps of War game. I mean, as you can see, this is only a 15-minute long game, but he managed to power out a fairly significant number of Void Rays in that time. Cut me a little bit off guard because I was used to a more macro-oriented Zerg style. So, yeah, very respectable play by BigAT. Pretty... I don't want to say pretty impressive because then I make it sound like I'm really, really good, and I'm really not. So, yeah, this will be the most up-to-date cast for round 1. I do not think there are any other games currently finished. So, yeah, this is the most up-to-date cast. I just said that already, and now I'm just repeating myself, so... Thank you for joining the tournament, BigAT. Hope to see you in the future, either in any other North American tournament or any other tournaments that I decide to make. Thank you for coming out. These are a great series of games. GG's. And looking forward to facing my next opponent. Hope everyone enjoyed the replay. Have a good time.